Hello and welcome to Fast Horses Today. We are going to be covering the races for the start of the race week over at Santa Anita for Friday, March 27th. Now, Santa Anita does have a Pick 6 carryover to start things out. I think that carryover amount is about $58,000. So, with the fact that we've got several days off between races, last Sunday to Friday, there'll probably be a pretty nice Pick 6 pull there over at Santa Anita. I've got some races that I like. I want to make some win bets, and I also have a late pick 4. So let's get started over at Santa Anita. So I'm going to get started in the second race. Second race has an approximate post time about 1:30 Pacific time, so it's 3:30 here in the Central Time Zone. This is a conditioned claimer. These are $10,000 claimers, 4-year-olds and up, which have never won 3 races. And they're going 6 furlongs on the dirt, so we got a dirt sprint here. I'm going to make a win bet on a horse. I think we're going to get a decent price on this horse, that being the 3-horse Cupid's Crusader. Cupid's Crusader from the Alfredo Marquez barn. Alfredo Marquez puts Ismael Jaramillo on the horse. Now, I think this is the first time that Jaramillo has ridden for this barn. Now, Alfredo Marquez has been around for a long time. Has definitely won races in the circuit. He's having maybe a little tough meet being 0 for 8, but, it doesn't start all that many. But I think that this horse does fit in here nicely. I think Jaramillo will make a difference on this horse as well. I like this horse's last several races. Has been running in and at this level and, running some even races. I think there might be a couple excuses there. Like the last time I included this horse in on a pick 5. This horse was shortening up from a mile race to 5.5. That certainly just wasn't in the cards that day. A couple horses got out really fast and just kind of stayed there. And this horse, ended up closing, had a little bit too much to do. So I think with the 5.5 to now 6 furlongs, I think this horse should break, much sharper, be closer to the field. 5-1 in the program, I think we'll get something like that. There seems to be some speed in this field, so, maybe Cupid's Crusader will have a nice pace to run at. So let's see, we'll take a win bet on the 3-horse in the second race, Cupid's Crusader. All right, now let's move over to the third race of the day. Third race is a first-level allowance race for California-bred fillies. These are 4-year-olds and up, so there's a first-level allowance also with a $20,000 claim attached to it in case there's one horse here for the claim, and that's the horse that I do like, going deep. They're going 1 1/8 on the grass. Doug O'Neill puts this horse in here. Reason why this horse does fit is because they're putting this horse in for the $20,000 claim. Maldonado takes the call here. I just think this horse will be better on Friday, and I think this horse can get it done based on some of her last races. There's a horse probably going to get bet on being the 2-horse Quantum Energy. I feel like Quantum Energy just likes to run, in the pack and in the money and doesn't seem to like to win. But I'm going to make the win bet on the 3-horse going deep for Doug O'Neill. O'Neill's horses have been running really well lately. Maldonado's been on this horse for, the last many, many starts here. These guys certainly make a nice pair when they get together. Maldonado's actually got to pick it up a little bit more there at Santa Anita. He's been a little bit cold the last couple of weeks. He put a nice ride on that horse in the Louisiana Derby. Maybe something like that might spur him on and, get him going again, because we know Maldonado can certainly ride and win races in Southern California. So 5-2, we'll make a win bet on the 3-horse going deep. Now I am going to move over to the 5th race. 5th race does start out that late pick 5. That has approximate post time about 3:07 Pacific time, so it's just after 5 o'clock here Central. What I like to do is when they've got those big pick 6 carryover days, I think the pick 5 always seems to be very worthwhile, that late pick 5. Folks do come in with money and come in with more than usual maybe, and that late pick 5 seems to be inflated on carryover days. So I feel like it's always worth playing. So 5th race is 1 mile on the grass. These are maiden $50,000 claimers. These are 3-year-olds. And I've got 2 horses here I'm going to get this pick 5 started with. I'm going to go with the 3-horse was Gallatin. Gallatin for Jonathan Thomas. Jonathan Thomas, couple changes here. This horse puts blinkers on, ends up dropping in for $50,000 off a maiden special weight attempt, and then Kimura takes the call. So a few changes there. I think all those 3 changes certainly fit, give this horse a chance to win here. This horse is 8-5. This horse will probably show speed based off showing some speed in the last race in a dirt sprint with maiden special weight. So certainly should get the lead here if the horse breaks clean. They're putting blinkers on, so that should sharpen this horse up as well. The question will be, going 2 turns, probably shouldn't be much of a question for this horse in this field. I don't know that there's a whole lot of talent here. So Gallatin at 8-5 will be tough. I'm also going to put the 4 horse was Prime Artist for Leonard Powell. Leonard Powell puts this horse in for $50,000. This horse actually ran for $50 last time in an even effort. They had brought this gelding over from Europe, had a couple maiden special weight tries. Ran some even races, kind of showed some talent in those races. So the drop to $50,000 certainly will help this horse. I think it helped the horse last time. Ayuso's been riding very well. 9-5, certainly no secret there. So we put the 3 and the 4 to try to start off this late pick 5 in the 5th race. All right, let's move over to the 6th race of the day. 6th race is a $25,000 open company claiming race. They're going 5.5 on the dirt, so quick sprint here. These are 3-year-olds only. And, there's a horse here that I know will probably be a single for a lot of tickets in the pick 6. I can certainly understand why. That would be the 2 horse Send It Mo for Peter Miller. This horse is 3-5 in the program. Blinkers on. Antonio Frasu takes the call, so a couple changes there. This horse is dropping into a level that he looks really tough. So we'll put this horse in at 3-5. Then also, because this pick 5 is going to be affordable, I'm going to throw a long shot in here, being the 5 horse Beers on Me. Doug O'Neill trains. Now, O'Neill's trying something a little different today with a couple horses. He's bringing horses in from other circuits. So, I think it's a good idea. I think there's probably some opportunity there, to win some races, to make some money with horses coming from different circuits. We're seeing small fields at Santa Anita. So I'm sure, the racing secretary and the folks there at Santa Anita are certainly appreciative of Doug O'Neill to bring in more horses from other places. So Beers on Me gets Maldonado on. So Maldonado and O'Neill, as I mentioned, a pretty good team. This horse was running in special weights over in New Mexico at Zia and Sunland Park. I don't follow the New Mexico circuit all that well. Just based on what I'm looking at here, it seems like those races probably fit with this level. This is not a high-level race at $25,000 for 3-year-olds only. So we'll see if Doug O'Neill fit this horse in the right spot. Beers on Me at 8-1. We're going to put him in there. So we'll have the 2 and the 5 in the 6th race. All right, now let's go to the 7th race of the day. 7th race is a turf sprint. They're going 6 furlongs on the flat grass course. This is a California bred first level allowance race, and there's also a $50,000 claim attached to this as well. And that ended up bringing in another horse here, being the 1 horse is in for the $50,000 claim. I'm putting 3 horses in. I think one of these 3 will get it done and advance the ticket. I'm going to put the 2 horse, who is still unwritten. Still unwritten for Ryan Hansen, Edwin Maldonado. So I've got Maldonado several times, on Friday. So I just hope that Maldonado steps it up and can win some races. This horse has one way to go. She ended up breaking her maiden on a turf sprint just like this at 6 furlongs. She took the lead and ended up wiring the field pretty nicely, and a visually nice race as well. That was back in mid-January. So a bit of a break. We'll see if Ryan Hansen, has needed to do some work with this horse. Not too sure what happened, why, she's been off for a couple months, but 7-2 puts Maldonado back on. Maldonado had some success with this horse. Maybe she'll be ready to go at 7-2. And I also put the 3 horse, who is 80s. Antonio Garcia is the trainer. Armando Ayuso is the rider. This horse also comes out of a race back at mid-January as well. So, a bit of a layoff for this horse as well. This horse does have some pretty decent races and certainly could fit in here. We'll see if Antonio Garcia has this horse ready off the layoff. The workouts look nice. I don't know that there's any real standouts in this race. We'll see if the favorite is as good as advertised. If not, then certainly a horse like 80s can come in at 6-1 and maybe upset the apple cart. And then I will put the 4 horse in, who is Troisième Etoile. This for Doug O'Neill. Doug O'Neill has trained the family of this horse. The siblings of this horse. The broodmare being La Première Etoile. So I know there's been several horses, from this broodmare. O'Neill's been in on this, Redham Racing. This horse, word must be out that this horse must work out really well. She had come out, first time out back in mid-January, was a favorite that day, and ended up coming second, had a little trouble. Follow that up with another very nice effort as a favorite, breaking her maiden at 6.5 on the flat grass. So certainly she's had some experience on this flat grass course with 2 starts, and she's run well both times. So she's 8-5. Jaramillo takes the call for the first time. We'll see if she's as good as advertised, and she probably will just beat this field. But we'll put the 2, 3, and the 4 in the 7th race for this late pick 5. Let's move over to the 8th race of the day. 8th race is a starter allowance race with an option to claim. They're going 6.5 on the dirt, and these are filly 3-year-olds, who have started for 50 or less, or which have never won two races, or they could put the horse in for the 50 claim. So just a creative way of getting a field together, which is what they did. I'm going to put 3 horses in. I've got the 3 horse who is authentically for Val Brinkerhoff, Tiago Pereira on the horse here. This horse had been running with maiden special weights for her entire career. Last time they put this horse in for a claim, she ended up beating a field of maiden 32,000 claimers. If you look at the race, visually it looks like a nice race. She ran with a lot of energy. Speed figure is not that high, but I don't know that you're going to need a really high speed figure to win this race. There's not a lot of fast horses here. I think 6.5 should be nice for this horse, and I'm just going to put this horse in based on the fact that she had been running with better horses, running okay, but when she did drop into claiming, she did get it done. So she's 8-1 in the program. Probably get somewhere around there. So we'll put her in there. Going to put the 5 horse who is Meridian May. Meridian May for Mike Pipey, and Kazushi Kimura takes the call. This is a Calbred who broke her maiden at the maiden $50,000 claiming level. She had run a couple maiden special weights in the Cal ranks. Just some, an okay race, and the other race didn't run too well. They dropped her into claiming, and she really got it done, and got it done very nicely. She's 3-1. If she runs anything similar to that, she's going to be really tough in this race. So we'll put Meridian May, that being the 5 horse, Meridian May at 3-1. And then finally, I will put the 7 horse in, who is star dialed for Doug O'Neill. Doug O'Neill puts Antonio Fresu on the horse, and this horse, similar as a horse I talked about a few races ago, Doug O'Neill bringing a horse in from a different circuit. This horse had been running in Kentucky and ended up breaking the maiden at Mahoning Valley. So I don't know. There's no way for me to find this out, but I kind of wonder if there's any horses that ran at Mahoning Valley that came to Santa Anita and won. But we'll see. If anyone could do it, it's Doug O'Neill. Horse broke the maiden nicely there. And Doug O'Neill puts this horse in for the 50 claim to get this horse eligible in this race. And again, we'll see if Doug O'Neill's noticed something here to bring horses from other circuits, fit him in right. We'll see if he plays this horse nicely. This horse is 3-1, so we put the 7 horse who is star dialed. So we've got the 3, 5, and 7 in the 8th race. All right, let's go to the 9th race of the day. 9th race caps off the day, so there'll be a lot of people anxiously waiting for maybe pick 6 tickets, pick 5 tickets. Just if you're betting the race by itself, probably be a lot of interest in that race. So the 9th race is a 6 furlong flat grass sprint. This is a second level allowance race where they're non-winner of 2, or there's an option to claim for $80,000. And for me, that option to claim for $80,000 is very important because it ends up making a horse my selection. That being the 6 horse, I'm about to go. Leonard Powell puts his horse in for the $80,000 claim, which makes his horse eligible. I see this as a great move. It looks like he owns it, or maybe that's his daughter. I'm not sure, but it looks like it's a family-owned thing because Powell is listed as the owner. Horse in for $80,000. I've liked this horse since they brought this horse into Southern California. I thought she's run some nice races. She had a nice win down the hill back in early February, and you'll see if she can get it done here on the flat grass. But looks like there's some speed to run at here. And I'm about to go. Might just take back and make a move here. That's kind of how she won going down the hill back in early February. Mirko DeMuro takes the call. Now, DeMuro hasn't been riding as much lately, it seems, over the last few weeks. So we'll see if Mirko DeMuro will get it started back up again. He was winning a lot of races in California, at the Santa Anita meet early on. I'm also going to make a win bet on the 6 horse I'm about to go. She's 9-2 in the program. I think if she's right, this horse just seems to be better, in this field. But for pick 5 purposes, I'm going to also put the 7 horse. We'll have the 6 and the 7 here in the 9th race. 7 horse is Jungle Peace for Phil D'Amato. 5-2 in the program. Antonio Fresu takes the call. Now, Jungle Peace, certainly likes Santa Anita with all of her work, her good work being done at Santa Anita. Her 3 lifetime wins are all over the Arcadia grass course. So she had come off a layoff. She had a bit of a layoff, having last run in late October over at Del Mar. And she had one start in a wishing well at Santa Anita, which a couple of them have come out of the wishing well. I don't know if I'm going to indict her for that effort, or just, maybe it was just a way to get her over the track once for something like this. So we'll put her in. It was probably a tough spot for her to come back there. She showed some speed and then just kind of packed it in a race that ended up pretty fast. So we'll put Jungle Peace in there. So we've got the 6 and the 7 in the 9th race. All right, now let's recap the day and recap the bets. Okay, so for Friday at Santa Anita for their Pick 6 carryover card, we've got 3 win bets and a late Pick 5. So we'll go with the win bets. In the second race, I'm going to bet the 3-horse, Cupid's Crusader. The third race, Going Deep. Go to the 5th race. The late Pick 5, 3-4 with, 2-5 with, 2-3-4 with, 3-5-7 with 6-7. That late Pick 5 ticket is a $36 ticket. And then in that 9th race, I'm going to make a win bet on the 6-horse, I'm About to Go. So if you see fit, you want to make the bets as is, I wish you the best of luck. If you want to add or subtract to that ticket, you've got to do what's best for you. If you want to bet the Pick 3s or Pick 4 within it, do what suits you best. Whatever you decide to do, I wish you the best of luck. Let's wish the folks over at Santa Anita a very safe day of racing to start off their week. Let's wish ourselves some great trips, as we know that can make the difference in winning and losing. So as always, I thank you so much for watching Fast Horses Today and listening to the picks. If you haven't done so, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost anything, it just delivers the content to you. You could like or dislike, make comments, make good comments, make bad comments. I promise to respond to everything. Let's create a discussion. So again, thank you so much for watching. Let's get this week off started quickly at Santa Anita, the great race place, and we'll see you for more coverage throughout the weekend on Fast Horses Today. Have a wonderful day.